All right, everyone, hello. Tony Winston here for Jazz Piano College. Welcome. Going to be doing a little work now on stride piano. Now, this is not something I'm really good at, but I know something about it, and I've been studying it over the past week here, trying to get ready to do a couple of videos. So I always wanted to play stride piano. In fact, when I was about 18, I bought a record. Now, I have the CD now, but the record I bought was this one. It's called Piano Starts Here by Art Tatum. And I'd never heard of Art Tatum, but I liked the cover, and I thought that was cool how they had a box around it. Piano Starts Here. And I thought, this has got to be good. When I put the record on, like everybody else, I thought it was two piano players. And a fellow named Johnny Costa, who was the piano player for Mr. Rogers for years, is a fantastic piano player. Art Tatum, complimented him. And of course, Oscar Peterson can kind of do a similar kind of a style. Dave McKenna, Dick Wellstood, Hank Jones is a good stride player. I'm at no loss for material when it comes to studying Art Tatum. I got this book here. The copyright on these is like 1928, and it says Piano Solo Arrangement by Art Tatum, but you can't find any recordings that really follow these exactly. So whether he played them and somebody else transcribed them, some of them are really good, like this one, If I Had You. And this book is basically the same thing, except just got a few more songs. These are a couple of books I really need to study here. I've never spent any time in this book at all, but Thomas Fats Waller, and I've got another one right here. A really great guy who I'm friends with on Facebook is Ricardo. I don't know how you say that last name, but he's coming out with some new books, and he did put out this book a few years ago called The Right Hand According to Tatum. And I kind of learned a couple of kind of riffs like that out of this book. But another one by Ricardo. Please, Ricardo, drop me a line, tell me how to pronounce your last name. Harlem Stride Pianos. And I went through this the other day and played a few of these. It was a Thomas Fats Waller thing. And then, of course, I've got some Art Tatum transcriptions. Let's dig into the style just a little bit. It comes from, of course, the ragtime style, which is a bass note and a chord, right? One thing about the style is you don't want to keep doing the same thing. You don't want to just keep playing root, chord. Some other really good elements to bring into this style is like any kind of boogie-woogie, this kind of thing. A little bit of walking bass is good in there, if you're doing a turnaround. And I'm going to link to this guy who's a pretty good Art Tatum transcriber and player. I can't think of his name, but I'm going to link to a couple of his videos. And he knew a guy who knew a guy who used to see Art Tatum when he came through town and would sit right next to him and watch him play. And he says a lot of these riffs are what they call two-finger riffs. And since I started trying this out just last week, I've found that these two-finger riffs are really great. And if you read some of the transcriptions, they've got fingering sometimes written in, which is not the way he played at all, I don't think. There's very little video of Art Tatum. The best one is probably him playing Yesterdays. And you can see him do some of those two-finger riffs. But even if you can't see it, you can kind of hear it. Because, like, say you take an A7th like this, and it goes, microphones are no good for this style. But and he'd set up a riff like that and then hit something with his left hand, and also he'd start runs with his left hand and then carry them on with his right hand. But that's a good one. Another one he does is like on C7th. Lots of variations on this too. Like he'll start like that or something, and then turn it into a two-finger riff, come down and end up on a chord. Things he didn't do, like the diminished scale. You never hear him do this kind of this thing. You never hear him use like the so what chord. It's always built around, seventh chords, usually with lots of alterations. The flat 5, I don't think he thought of it as a sharp 11. I think it was more like a flat 5. And then, kind of chromatic things, Or hit that, and then and huge chords, with just rich kind of harmonies. Of course, his would be like that big, maybe even bigger than that. Now you could probably put in some elements that weren't really available to Art, or they just hadn't been really discovered yet. Some modal stuff, diminished scale kind of things. I never hear him do much drop 2 or that, the George Shearing style, which kind of came a little bit later. I mean, Art died, I think, in 1956. And something else, too, I wanted to talk about is reharmonizations. Now, a lot of the time, it's just a matter of going like... I think that's a kind of a common way that he goes through like a turnaround or a 1-6-2-5, is he'll go from the root key up to, like, say, the dominant here to a half step above the root key, you see, and then back into a 2-5-1. You could also do it, all right, like that. And, as time goes by, I'm going to, pick a few songs and really work on them with you. And we'll find some of these great reharmonizations that he did.